Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung developed a series of archetypes. These various archetypes embody the human psyche. These are kind of wired in through a collective experience. Now, people identify and embody different archetypes depending on their own preferences, their experiences, and the socialization of their culture. The warrior archetype is one that can be both helpful and harmful, as with all of the archetypes. If the archetypes are in out of balance, not in balance, they can create some challenges. So the warrior archetype, generally speaking, is a more masculine energy that works for the greater good or towards addressing injustices and working towards what others need. Now, this is beautiful. This is wonderful. But one of the key pieces is the more developed warrior archetype is focused more on honor, coming from a place of fighting for honor versus anger. So out of balance, we become quite angry, we can become quite paranoid, and we can become quite hyper vigilant, treating life as if everything is a war to be fought. Now, of course, there are things that need to be fought, but there also are things that are not a fight. They're not a big issue, or if we make them a big issue consistently, we may start to damage our relationships. So the way that it might look if you find yourself finding a lack of balance with this internally wired archetype within yourself is you may often experience a general sense of defensiveness with others. Looking for, is this fair? Is this not fair? Are we giving the same amount? Or maybe being very resistant to any type of feedback that may come towards your way because, again, it feels like a war. It feels like I need to defend. I need to justify what I'm doing and why I'm doing that. Now, life becomes very helpful being able to receive feedback because we often don't see what others see. And it doesn't mean what others see is necessarily correct, but it is really helpful to be able to contemplate and consider. If you don't agree with it, that's okay. But out of balance, we might find ourselves being very hesitant to receive any kind of feedback, any kind of criticism. And then we start to war against that person, gaslighting them, criticizing them instead of receiving what they're bringing, meeting them like eye for an eye. And so you might contemplate a bit in your own life if you find yourself kind of always in conflict, always on edge. If a lot of your stories you share with friends are about your kind of continuous conflicts and the unfairness in life, you may in fact embody warrior archetype, but maybe you need to help work on healing that, learning skill sets to help to maneuver conflict, to help to maneuver battle, being able to understand that in our connections there are times and certain connections in which we mainly sacrifice. It's not always equal. Like even in a good relationship, it's not always equal. There's periods of time where one person gives more, and other times where the other person gives more. There's a time when we're both equal, but not having this heightened sense that as soon as I see equality, I'm ready to go in battle, because what you'll find over time is that your connections will be very strained or non-existent. And so who then are you fighting for if no one's there?